Hey everyone, I am not in Michigan. I'm in Ohio, which is not where I usually am. I'm here with my new friend Jonathan.
Hello.
And we are heading to Nethers Farm for some Flint Ridge flint. So it's just gotten hilly. It's kind of out in the country here, and it's really pretty.
Nah, I can't do that.
Alright, we're heading back in the woods here. We passed one pit, looking for some others. Sounds like somebody's got a generator going. I don't know if they have a jackhammer or what. Oh, we just met Brad here. He's the guy with the jackhammer down in the pit, and he let me film this. He said he's been working yesterday and today, and he finally got down into some really nice color here. There's all this gray rock above it, and I'll show you some of the. He's serious about this. Rented an actual jackhammer. We brought hammers and chisels, so really nice color in some of this stuff. The piece up there I wanted to show you. Check that out. Alright, we gotta go find our own pit because this one's taken. Jonathan's picking up a few scraps over on the edge there. There are a lot of holes around here. We're just walking around checking them out a little bit. Anything in that hole? Let's see what's over here. It's a completely different kind of rock hunting for me. A couple rocks people have been beating away on. A big outcropping over here too. It's got some color. Not as good as the colors in that other hole, but it's not bad. Yeah, we don't really know what we're doing, but what we're trying to do is get below the gray rock down into some color underneath. And so far, haven't found too much color. So it's interesting though. The rock it looks pretty solid up on top there, but underneath it's pretty easy to I'm just in there with a rock hammer, just this, and it's actually pretty broken up underneath there. And I don't think it's backfill because I'm underneath that other rock. Could be wrong, but anyhow, that's what we're doing for right now. We'll see how it goes. Jonathan just made an observation I thought was kind of neat.
It looks here like it's almost like a nodule formation where you can see a chalky sort of white layer on the outside, and then it curves around sort of like an elongated egg shape laying on the side there. I'm not sure if that's just my imagination or if that's...
I certainly see it.
Something to do with how it formed. I don't know.
That's interesting. I've gotten tired of digging the hole, so Jonathan's taken over my hole, and I'm going to do a little walking around and see if I can find just some surface tumbling material. I will let you know what I find. Native Americans have been digging this stuff in this area. I guess there's about an 8 or 9 mile swath of this stuff, and Native Americans have been digging this for thousands of years. They found it as far west as Kansas City, all the way over to the Atlantic Ocean, and that's a keeper, and as far south as Louisiana. So it's pretty valued. And it still is today. We're working at this spot for a little while. We're in a different hole now. And got the big hammer out. Problem is getting some cracks. A lot of these places there's not really good cracks. It's just solid bedrock. So you got to find the right spot to put the chisel in. Get a grip on it, and hopefully we get that big chunk out one of these days. So starting to make a little progress under there. How long have we been at this rock? An hour? Oops.
So after, how long would you say, Rob? At least an hour?
Yeah.
Of pounding here, this came off. I wonder if that was worth an hour of pounding.
No, that little spot on the top looks nice, but doesn't go very deep.
But it was satisfying nonetheless.
Would you do it again?
No.
Me either. At least, I don't know if you can get your wedge out well.
It may be an artifact here. Whenever civilization follows us, they'll find it, like we find the Native American artifacts. I might take a bunch of rock out with it, though.
Well, I think our best picking was right here next to Brad's pile. He got done getting all his flint knapping stuff, and we picked up his scraps, and got some other stuff too. So anyhow, we're leaving happy. You're happy?
I'm happy.
So we're going to go back and cut some stuff up, so in the future you can see some finished products. I'm back home now, and this is what I brought home. Jonathan has probably 3 times as much as this. And I know he's already started slicing his. I haven't put mine in the saw yet, but that's what I'm about to do. So I only got a few pieces that are really big enough for the saw. Those for sure. And I can probably get a slice or 2 out of these. I don't know about that one. It's kind of thin. But the rest of this stuff is tumbling rough, which is what I really wanted. So I know that I just don't make that many cabs, so I can slice this up and I'll have a bunch of sliced rocks and never do anything with it. That's why I want more for the tumbling stuff, because that's what I enjoy the most. So let me pull the camera a little closer. I want to show you some of this before I put it in the saw, and then we'll look at it after I get done cutting it. I'm not going to show you too much of this, but I just wanted to show you a few sample pieces before I put it in the saw. So here's probably my biggest cutting piece. I'm just impressed with the variety of colors in this stuff. This one has some little crystals right there. And there's crystals somewhere else. Yep, right back there. So there are little crystal pockets in this. But the part I really like is this red with a kind of clear chalcedony in behind it. That one's going to be nice. I should be getting some of these wet. I got a squirt bottle out here. That part right in there looks awesome. And this one I don't think I can get on the saw. Like I said, it is kind of flat, but it'd be really hard to get a couple of slices out of that. So Probably end up breaking it up for tumbling. And here's the other big piece with some color in it. So this stuff does not all look great. A lot of it looks like this. It's kind of it's rust stains on there because you chip into it and you can see it's not this color on the inside, just sort of a gray rock. But then you get the parts that look like that are just kind of incredible. So here's a couple of other pieces I don't know why we picked up. Well, I guess this one has some color right in here. So hopefully there's some color, you know, close to the surface over here. But most of this is just sort of a gray rock, or this brownish color, but I think most of this is rust staining, iron staining. That's got some neat little speckles in it actually, so that actually might look better than I think. Here's another one that's kind of not that impressive looking, just so you can kind of see that a lot of it looks like this. Most of it looks like this. And then, if you're lucky, you find a piece like this. You can see the conchoidal fracturing in that. Right in here you can see these kind of like a shell-shaped pattern. But look at that. That one's going to be really good. And just two more pieces I want to show you. I'm going to throw this stuff in the saw. I'm not going to show the tumbled stuff in this video because it's going to take me a while to get this stuff tumbled. But in a future video, we'll do a rocks in the box video and you can see what it looks like tumbled. There's that conchoidal fracturing again. Alright, so I'll go throw this in the saw and come back and show you that, and then Jonathan's going to show us some that he's cut up also. Well, it took me a couple days, but I got this all sliced up and it looks really awesome. I can't wait to show you. Okay, let's start with this one. This is probably the least colorful of all the rocks. It still has some really cool patterns on it. I got all these damp to start with. I don't know if they'll stay damp, but just so you're aware. Check that out. Just love the colors in these things. Here's another. Just so much variety in this stuff. It's just so incredible. This one's completely different. More of an opaque, and those are not saw marks, that's natural banding in the rocks. Another nice one. This one's really good. So it's drying off a little bit. Let me get that wet again. So here, let me move those out of the way and just show you here that there's this chalcedony kind of stuff in here. So it's not all opaque like you'd think of flint being. In fact, somebody once asked me what the difference was between I think it was chert and jasper, but if you look up flint, chert, and jasper, it's really all the same stuff. In fact, when Jonathan and I were driving down to Ohio, we were chatting, and he told me that if you call it chert, it's just the ugly stuff. If it doesn't look very nice or it's got kind of bland colors, it's called chert. And if it's colorful, you call it jasper. So I don't know why this isn't called jasper, because it seems like it fits the colorful description. And you can see just a little bit of light through some of these spots. Up here you can see a lot. So yeah, if you start researching the difference between flint, chert, and jasper, it's kind of all the same stuff. Here's the last one that I had to cut up. I was able to cut up those real narrow ones. I was pretty excited about that. Look at that. So many little things in there. Neat stuff. All right, Jonathan has cut up more than I have, and he's even made some cabs, so I'm going to show you his stuff next. So here's Jonathan.
Hi Rob. I've cut a number of the rocks that we collected together in Ohio, and I wanted to share some of them with you. The first rock is similar to one that I think both of us have quite a few of, and I'll show you a couple slices of it. Here's what the rock looked like pretty much before I cut it up. And here are what some of the slabs look like. Here's what this one looked like before cutting it up. And this is what it looked like on the inside. With that particular rock, I already made a cabochon from it, and here's how it turned out. This rock caught my eye because of this pattern that it had on the outside. And when you look inside, it's pretty interesting as well. Here's another colorful one that looked something like this before I cut it up. And some colors and interesting patterns on the inside. This was basically a gray rock. The only reason I picked it up is because it had some clear blue spots running along the outside. And when I cut it open, as I expected, it was pretty much a gray rock with a little bit of clear blue areas up at the top. This was a very large rock. I just brought a few slices inside. It looked something like this before cutting it up. And has some pretty nice colors on the inside. Here's another large rock. This one was one of my favorites of all the ones that I cut up. Probably about a 6 or 7 pound rock. And I've cut up about half of it. And I really like the way it looks on the inside. I'll show you a couple more. Here are some slabs where I didn't think it was worth sharing the entire rock, but I pulled out a few of my favorite slabs and I thought I'd show you those ones. I picked up a few rocks like this because I thought they had sort of like a landscape pattern in them, almost looked like brown mountains and a white sky. They turned out alright. Not my favorites, but glad I picked up a couple of them. Here are a few that have some different brown colors, black lines, some other interesting purple and pink colors in them. I made 2 small cabochons from this group of rocks as well. There's the first one. And there's the second one. Here's a rock that I really like, but unfortunately, when I cut slabs out of it, every one of them broke a number of times along these black lines that you see here. So I gave up and stopped cutting. Still a pretty cool rock, but I don't think it's going to make any good slabs. Here's some macro shots of just a few of the slabs. You can see just how amazing some of them are up close. Isn't that cool? And a few up-close shots of a few of my cabochons. Finally, I made a cabochon from one of those final rocks I showed you as well. Here's what it looks like. It's really shiny, which I'm proud of, but it also makes it pretty difficult for the camera to focus in on.
Thanks, Jonathan, for taking the time to show us what you did. You're making me look bad with all the cabs you've made already. I've got to get busy, so I guess look forward to some cabbing and tumbling videos in the future. See you next time.